Pursuant to Governor Baker's March 12th, 2020 order suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law, GL Chapter 30A, Section 18, and Governor Healy's March 29th, 2023 order extending remote participation by all members in any meeting of a public body, this meeting of the Housing Subcommittee will be conducted via remote participation. Specific information and the general guidelines for remote participation by members of the public and/or parties with a right and/or requirement to attend this meeting can be found on the town's website. For this meeting, members of the public and committee members may attend the meeting remotely, following the instructions at the top of the agenda that was posted. And every effort will be made to ensure that the public can adequately access the proceedings in real time via technological means. Pursuant to MGL 7C 30A Section 20F, after notifying the chair of the public body, any person may make a video or audio recording of an open session of a meeting of a public body, or may transmit the meeting through any medium. At the beginning of the meeting, the chair shall inform other attendees of such recordings. Any member of the public wishing to speak at the meeting must receive permission of the chair. The listing of agenda items are those reasonably anticipated by the chair, which may be discussed at the meeting. Not all items listed may in fact be discussed, and other items not listed may be brought up for discussion to the extent permitted by law. So the town of Barrington is recording, and we have we have two other attendees. I don't believe that they are recording, but they are welcome to record if they would so choose. So I'm going to take a roll call. Malcolm?
Here.
Jeremy?
Here.
Garfield?
Here.
And I am present. Okay, so we're going to take a look at the approval of minutes of July 25th, 2023. Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve the minutes.
Second for discussion. So discussion, Malcolm, I just noticed that the top header said the wrong date. It said June 27th. So if you could please
page 1 and 2, that same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So those are two corrections.
Okay. Anyone else have any corrections? Okay, so is there a motion to approve with the amendments?
Motion to approve.
Okay. Second?
Second.
Okay, Malcolm?
Aye.
Jeremy?
Aye.
Garfield?
Aye.
And I am aye. Okay, so the motion was approved to approve July 25th minutes. So thank you very much. Subcommittees, announcements and statements. Jeremy?
I don't have any.
Okay. Malcolm?
Just to state that we are the planning board, the next meeting is going to continue discussion on what can be done to pave the way for aggregate housing. So that's something that's going to be coming up at the next meeting this week.
What's aggregate housing?
Congregate housing.
Oh, congregate. Oh, okay, congregate housing. So that the town would own, or
no, I think it's just zoning.
Just zoning.
To make it easier to have congregate housing. Okay.
Right now, congregate housing. There's no provision in the bylaw for congregate housing, and our zoning bylaw says if it's not permitted, then it's prohibited. So if it's not specifically permitted, yes. If it's not specific,
so it's permitted by something else, right? Because it's not congregate housing. It's like an inn.
So the motels that were converted, like the Windflower, and they're talking about the Thornwood Inn now.
With less than a 30-day
permitted as B&Bs, not housing. So So that's So I remember.
So you can't have extended leases for those, right? So you have to, so it has to be less than 30 days and all that kind of stuff, which makes it difficult.
Yeah. So I do remember.
Tell me what congregate housing is, please. I don't know what congregate housing is. I don't think.
Sure. It's so a lot of times it's rooms like what we did with Windflower with Construct. It's rooms that are single rooms, and then you have a common area that you share, usually kitchen, living space, and so forth. So you live in a house, but each person has their own room. sometimes it's ensuite, sometimes you share your bathroom, so everyone's kind of living
You
as
should call them boarding rooms and boarding houses, correct?
sort of, but this
That's
is,
kind of what it is.
yeah,
Yeah.
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 And
And
it's
so-
close that our boarding house, we do allow boarding houses in town, but
Yeah.
it's close, but it's not quite the same, because this is not providing food. Basically, our bylaws, a housing unit in our bylaws require a kitchen and a bathroom.
yeah,
So that's what prohibits.
So
congregate housing.
congregate could be a shared, like, and or kitchen or bathroom, right? So like like your own space could have either or none of a kitchen and bathroom.
Yeah, that's what we have to hash out,
Yeah.
yeah.
And
I
then
do
if we
remember
didn't-
when we did Windflower, we had to kind of find a workaround, which we were
Mhm.
lucky to do. And the rules that we have is, we were adamant that it's not going to be short-term rental. So you have month to month, it's an agreement. So it's not a lease. So it was like a rental agreement. So we had to be very, very careful on the wording of
Yep.
that to do that workaround. So this would be, that would take all that out, which would be great.
Yeah, and so it's more or less limited now to former inns or B&Bs to do this type of housing, unless you want to go through the permitting process to create an inn or B&B, right? And which is hard. And so, since it's not going to be an inn or a B&B when you're trying to create this sort of housing, the idea is to make it easier.
Let's recognize it, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so definitely Chris Rembold was part of our, when we took over the Windflower Inn, he helped us navigate how to get
Mhm.
around it, so it worked, but he would definitely be the
Yeah.
key person you're probably working with him anyways, obviously, because he's your person, but,
Because he's
he
on the
knows
planning
what
board.
we had to do.
Because he attends all our meetings.
Yeah. I guess
Because
so.
he is the non-planning board member, right?
Yeah. So
I mean,
he-
non-voting member, I should say, of the planning
Yeah.
board,
Oh, good. Okay. Well, that's very welcome.
besides ours.
Any other
associate
things
member.
like from the planning board that's cooking?
No, that's the biggest thing.
Okay.
That one is super exciting too, because like that was something that got taken out of zoning when single family started to happen. Because those were like the people living in those sorts of places were the people you're trying to keep out. And so, I mean, it's nice. It's a good equity thing, and it's a good starting place. I mean, it's a great thing for young people. So it can be great, like, for starting or downsizing too,
Yeah, for
especially
sure.
if you're looking for something that's more social.
Yep.
Because you're going to be sharing spaces. I mean, you could share a living room, you could share a kitchen, you could share a bathroom, I mean, it could be, I mean, of course, the bylaw has to be written, and then it has to be passed by town meeting and approved by the AG, but
Yeah.
well,
it is possible, Construct or Windflowers are a great example. It's going, amazingly well. We're having, tenants are really, really happy. It's a real wide range of people living there, from senior citizens on fixed incomes to artists that came in just to work at, one of the theater companies, to people working in the marketplace. So it's just a really, really wonderful, wonderful project. And I was happy to, advise or offer support to the CDC, and I'm really thrilled that they purchased Thornwood. So it's looking good. But yeah, I mean, there'll definitely be interest about it, because then people will wonder if, there's going to be congregate housing popping up next to them or whatever. So obviously there's a lot of.
I'd like to say something about that.
Yeah.
I think it's great temporarily. It's not. I don't think it's the situation I would like to be in. I'm not saying it's bad. I think we need it, but that doesn't sound like. I would like to think that people can, if you will, graduate to.
For sure.
More of their own place, as opposed to there's no privacy there really. Maybe
Yeah,
if you have
absolutely.
your own room, etc., that kind of stuff. But I think it's a nice jumping point. But I wouldn't glorify it. But
No, it's a good landing pad.
Well,
Basically,
I mean,
sorry.
I think the idea is you have a lot of different kinds of housings to fit a lot of different needs, right? So, I mean, I think if like the typical thing would be, okay, we just have single family zoning, right? So you can put one unit on one lot, that would
Right.
be like what happened in non-city America. And like, it's super limited, it limits the scope of people that can live there. And so, yeah, I mean, I don't think, I mean, there's all kinds of housing that hopefully isn't permanent,
Yeah.
but you may come back to it, so you may like rent, and then you may, if you're lucky enough to own, but then at some point you may go back to renting, as you want to downsize and you don't want to, and so, I mean, I think it's the more types of housing that we can have, it helps to alleviate the pressure that we have on
absolutely.
housing.
Oh, I don't disagree by no means.
Yeah,
I agree with you.
So,
Yeah,
I mean,
I
because
am-
this is on the agenda, I'm not going to go too much further into this, but I do welcome updates. When are you going to be discussing this in the next planning board meeting?
Thursday.
Thursday, okay.
Because
So
it
you'll-
is one of the items on the initiatives.
Oh,
So we
okay.
can-
Well, we can circle back
can
around. Okay.
check
So
it
I
off.
wanted to make sure that we're not doing something. Okay.
That it's in
So technically
process.
it's okay. That's great. So you're talking about Thursday, and good. I look forward to hearing more of the discussion. Okay, so let's just get through announcements.
Hold on.
Garfield, do you have
Oh,
anything?
yeah, okay, yes. I don't have really an announcement, just something that that we have already here for new business, but I think it's imperative that we do look at the transfer fee, and we do pare down and maybe we can find something that may work with it as well, although I know we've looked at this a long time, but it appears that from the feeling I get, people would like to see possibly other means as well of making money for housing as opposed to just a transfer fee. That's just the feedback I'm getting. Doesn't have to be.
Anybody have any suggestions? Did anybody have any suggestions?
I wasn't
Garfield,
given
or-
any. I was not given any suggestions other than that they were concerned about just having the real estate transfer fee, and I was at the meeting, and not a lot of people spoke, but truthfully, there wasn't very many in favor of, if I remember that correctly. There might have only been one. So I just think we need to get right into it again, and maybe we can word it differently.
Well,
it's a great idea. I want it, but I want to make sure we can get it to pass, and I'd like to find some way to do that. I don't know what it is, but
Yeah, well, I have a
Go
lot
ahead,
to say
Jim.
about that, but I'll let you guys talk first, and I'm
It's-
going to go into it once we get to that point.
I mean, I think it's kind of out of our hands now. We already turned it over to the select board, so it's really
Yeah.
in the two of your and the rest of the select board's hands now. I mean, for us to, I mean, I think we're still I think this group is still interested in, I mean, if there's other things that we can do for funding. I mean, the initiatives list is covered with things that need funding. And so, yeah, I mean, I think that's the big question, but if it's not going to come out of taxpayers, it's not going to come from taxpayers, I mean, that's the real trick. And so if anyone has a suggestion, that would be terrific, because it would be great if it didn't come out of the tax
Yeah.
bill.
And that's really, well, I guess let me go through announcements, and then since that's the first item on new business, I have an announcement, but it's linked into the real estate transfer fee, so I guess I would just segue into it.
Cool.
Yeah, I mean, Jeremy, definitely. I mean, that was really the crux of it, is that we need money and we need funding. It's got to come from somewhere, and unfortunately, when you take federal dollars and you take state dollars for affordable housing, it comes with strings attached, and it's lots of hoops that you're jumping through. You enter into the state lottery in terms of the wait list, so it opens up to the whole state in terms of the wait list. Yes, you can ask for a local preference, but that only lasts for the initial lease up, and then it opens up to anyone in Massachusetts, with this thousands of people on the subsidized housing list. So the whole crux of the real estate transfer fee is to try to find a way to generate money that we can control closely as a town. So if you have local money, in theory, the Affordable Housing Trust Fund has their pool of money. They can be very, very careful of where it goes. So if you are talking about congregate housing, if you're working with a nonprofit, if the Affordable Housing Trust Fund hears of a property coming up for sale, they could jump in on it before a speculator buys it and turns it into, expensive market rate housing. And then they would have a chance to figure out how they're going to rent it out and what that would look like. And the reason why I'm adamant about this is that, for example, with Windflower, Construct was very, very keen on keeping it local preference. And we did not want to open it up to state and federal dollars. So we did a big fundraiser. We worked with the town of Great Barrington closely in response to getting some money from ARPA. We put it in the agreement that we would have Great Barrington workers and Great Barrington residents only. So that's the nice thing about having money that's generated locally, rather than waiting for these big grants from the feds and the state. Because really the other way that money's going to come from is the budget. It's going to come through special articles. It's going to come directly from taxpayers' pockets that can't necessarily afford it. So the thing with the transfer fee is it was on a higher level. It was on, properties over $1 million. So in theory, those people that had been making 73% appreciation in 5 years on their homes, the extra $5,000 in a transfer fee, if it was $1 million house, is not as big a hit as someone on a very, very limited fixed income that would be paying for affordable housing through it coming through the budget. So my point is it's going to come from somewhere. So it's either going to come through the normal budget, through a special article, which we have seen just last year. I believe that we had a special article for $175,000, and correct me if I'm wrong, Garfield, but I believe it was 175,000, and that came out of the budget, meaning it comes out of the tax rate. And so, where is it going to come from? And so the transfer fee is just one way to have the Affordable Housing Trust Fund be replenished. It's not the only way, but at least if they have some foundation of money, they have a little bit more control. So it's not the end all and be all, obviously, and it's one piece in a huge puzzle.
And so the other thing with the way that the trust can operate, so the trust can operate differently when the funds that they have are CPA funds that have been put as that are either just general to the trust general fund or specifically for like acquiring properties. Those funds are different than I believe than funds that would be raised through the transfer fee, in that the trust doesn't have to go through the normal municipal procurement process, right? Exactly. They can be even more quick, and which is why CPA funds are so so valuable in a way, right?
Coveted, I guess.
And so I mean, we can try at the state level to lobby for changing that, right? Some opening other funds to that as well, but that would require change. And I'm not certain if I know CPA funds are special in that, and I'm not sure if there's another source that has that same that doesn't have to go through the normal procurement process. But anyways, I don't think transfer. I don't think the transfer fees.
Sorry, go ahead. I'm finished, Jeremy. I'm sorry.
No. You go, Garfield.
I'm just saying that I would like to think that there could be a better line of communication, or some way we can work this with CPA, but we're able to get funds and then have them ready to do something that we can do on a, when we see, like Lee said, we see a house, we can grab it before someone else does. But they want plans ahead of time, and that's always not possible. And it will tie our hands to something like that. And I'm not sure myself. I don't know all the ramifications. I'm not going to lie about it. I'm sure there's stuff I don't know that maybe I should know. But it just seems that we're all on the same team, so I'm not quite sure why there's pulling teeth to get money from.
Well, the CPA is spending a lot of money on affordable housing.
Yeah,
all the affordable housing projects in town have been subsidized by the CPA funds.
But
and losing the purse strings more though.
It's generally a small portion though. But it is a small portion, and no, but I'm not disagreeing with you, Malcolm. But it is a small portion, and one of the things that this transfer fee is bringing up It's like, how much do we want to put towards affordable housing? Like, the CPA funds are like sort of painless, right? Because they're going to be the same regardless, right? Like we've committed to that. And so those funds are already coming out of the tax rate, and then we're getting, some sort of state match every year. But the transfer fee is something new to consider. And so then it's bringing up things like, is the town really at a place where we're really willing to fund affordable housing? Because yes, the CPA has spent 38% of its funds on affordable housing, but that 38% was a very small percentage of what was spent on these projects. And so these projects were huge, right? Amounts of money that I don't think that the town, meaning us voters, are ready to pay for ourselves. So some of the things that are on our initiatives list are things I don't think we're there yet. And when we talk about, like, we need to get this the trust another source of funding, I don't know what that source of funding is beyond something like this, which, yeah, it's not a tax, but it is a tax. And so, that's the trick, and so I wonder if maybe, we can continue to look for this sort of thing, but I'm wondering if more of our focus should be, how can we open up housing development more, right? How can we get more housing development? Because if we get more development, and this is really, it's not really the affordable housing subcommittee, right? This is the housing subcommittee. And, if we get more housing, it relieves the pressure that we have on housing. And so I don't know. I wonder, because those are, the other side of it are things that we have more direct control over as a town, and it's less painful, because if you get more housing development, that should also make the tax rate go down over time, right? Because the idea is you're going to have more taxpayers coming into town. And, I realize that a big portion of that is business. And so there needs to be that as well. But yeah, I guess we're kind of on this. Are we on this yet, on the housing initiative summary?
Yeah, so let me
I'd like to say something about what Jeremy just said.
Yeah.
The CPA funds were a very small portion of those big projects, but those big projects wouldn't have happened without the CPA funds.
No. I'm not
So,
saying that they. Yeah, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying the point I was making is just where
we're not going to be able
we're
to
at as a
raise
town.
money in town, right?
Yeah,
And,
exactly.
and
That's
my
my point.
my concern is, the real estate transfer tax, to me, is kind of a low bar.
Say that again, Malcolm. Say that again, please.
It should be. It should be relatively easy, because, I'll tell you. I have a fairly nice house. I'm not worried about it selling for $1 million. I'd like it to, but I don't think it will. So the tax isn't going to hit me. What happens when we propose something that really does tax everybody? If proposing a tax that taxes virtually nobody except for several very wealthy people raises people and has them jumping up and down, then what is acceptable?
Yeah,
and I'd like people to say, if that's why I asked you, Garfield, if somebody says we need another source, it's their obligation to state what that source is, or to state plainly that they're against affordable housing.
Absolutely. And that's a really, really good point, Malcolm. Because, at the end of the day, we need revenue, and, no one's going to be happy. And generally you hear from the negatives more than the positives. So, of course, all the people that are against it is what we heard, is who turned out for the public hearing. In the vote, I really think it's going to be a different story. And all I'm hopeful is, let's just get it to voters. So, whether it goes on the annual town meeting warrant, which I'm still hopeful and I'll still advocate for very, very, very strongly. What's more important is, yes, people that are against it will speak the loudest, squeaky wheels make the most grease, or whatever that is. But when it comes down to the vote, and I think when people realize that the economic engine of our town is at risk right now, I think it'll be a different story. So, we'll have more time to take some more on board. And what I didn't get a chance to say was that in this whole discussion that's been happening with Great Barrington, I've been approached by Stockbridge, West Stockbridge, and Lee. The Berkshire Eagle wrote a big, opinion piece.
All right.
And I answered it, and I did a plea and basically said, this is a regional issue with needing regional solutions. So I was contacted by those three, actually two towns. So I spoke to Stockbridge 2 weeks ago, who they had asked for all my notes and the sample bylaw and sample act that I had written in preparation. So I spoke to them, and I'm speaking to West Stockbridge tomorrow night. And the chair of the Lee Select Board, Bob Jones, I believe, is going to be in attendance. So there's a lot of movement, and people are really, really, drawn to this. So essentially, it's an informational meeting, and they will shape it. They will do whatever they want, whether it's on the special town meeting warrant or not. But they realize that we need revenue to create housing and to preserve it. And without some kind of source, we're just kind of spinning our wheels. So, but the second thing I wanted to let you know is that with Lydia Edwards, who is the chair of the Housing Committee in Boston, Senator Lydia Edwards, she came to Great Barrington a few weeks ago with Senator Mark, and had a small group of us speak with her. And she is a big proponent of the transfer fee. And through that meeting, I was invited to meet the Secretary of Housing, Ed Augustus, the new Secretary of Housing under Governor Healy. So I'm meeting with him on Friday. And although it's a private meeting, but it's about the transfer fee, and it's about having Western Mass represented. So and I asked permission if I could say that, just to let people know. But aside from that, it's not like public. But
I gotta say something here.
But what I will say,
yeah,
but what I will say is that there's momentum both in Boston and locally to come up with ways to generate revenue. So I think it's all very, very, very it gives me a lot of optimism.
So are they
all right,
thinking?
can I say something now?
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, go Phil, Garfield.
It's all well and good. I've also heard, I'm on the street, if you will. People don't seem to care that it's in West Stockbridge or Stockbridge. We live in Great Barrington, and the fact also that seems to bother some people. The other thing is, which I don't know how to do it, but you were listening in on that meeting, and no, there wasn't tons of folks, but everything was negative, and people don't seem to get it, that it's not going to affect them. It's probably not going to affect 90% of the people in this town. I even gave an illustration myself. And people, for some odd reason, even though they're not going to be taxed, if you will, or have a fee on them, they have an issue. I don't know what the answer is, but I don't know. But people seem to get pretty worked up when it comes to money, and even if they don't have $1 million house, it bothers people, and they're looking at it like it's a tax. So that is what is on the street, truthfully, and we do live in Great Barrington, and we have to make it work here. So we got to sell our people.
Well, the reason why I'm bringing up Stockbridge and West Stockbridge and other towns is because that will take the pressure off Great Barrington. So the more housing we have in other towns, we're not going to be, the only town that's taking it. So that's what makes me happy, because they're stepping up, and we don't necessarily want to be, ground zero. So the fact that the other towns realize that they need to do, step up as well as us, that is what I'm excited about. And I do think that it's a regional issue that, each town can shape it. I mean, the beauty with this transfer fee is that, there is legislation that could enable any town just to bring this up as a bylaw at a normal town meeting and pass it and not have to go through a home rule petition. So that's bubbling. But my point is that each town can debate this themselves, and they can set the threshold or whatever works for them. They could do it 1 year, and then the second year they could change it. I mean, it's flexible. So we're not locking anyone into anything. We're just opening the possibility to another stream of revenue. And I know it makes everyone nervous, but the alternative is just to become a retirement community for just the wealthy, and, you know, have our schools close and our, you know, coffee shops not open. So there's got to be a balance.
What did you think, Lee? What did you think of that meeting? You were there. You were
I
heard.
expected
You
it.
were not
Actually,
happy
I
with
thought
how
there'd
that
be more people. Yeah, I was not. I mean, I think it was, you know, 8 people against and maybe 5 for, so it was fine. I mean, it's the usual people, and they all have their concerns, which I absolutely respect. And I just think, you know, more discussion and just trying to, you know, listen and try to reply to their concerns and their fears is all we can do. And
That's
then
right.
ultimately,
Exactly. I know. I agree with that. But we
yeah,
just
and
have
then
to reach those
ultimately,
fears.
yeah,
have
the
to quell
ultimately
those
it'll
fears.
go down to a vote. Yeah. So I mean, you know, we'll do a better, you know, if it ever comes to a vote, we'll have communication down, and it's similar to the short-term rental bylaw.
Yeah,
You know,
good.
came together and, you know, did illustrations, and, you know, it was very clear
good.
on pros and cons. So I think that'll probably
Yeah, no, that's good.
happen. Yeah. But
I like it. I mean, I don't have any. Yeah, I mean, you're preaching to the choir somewhat, and I don't
Yeah,
have any problem against it. I just
yeah.
being there and hearing people and hearing stuff on the street. It's going to be tough.
No, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I guess I'm more ground zero because I live and breathe this every day, because my
Yes, you
job,
do.
my full-time job is doing this. I probably, I have my responses probably better, better scripted. But no, I understand people's fears, and I also understand that economic development is really important in this town. And the more restaurants we see closing and the more people we see moving out of our town is very concerning, and our schools, you know, school population declining. So it's all tied in, you know, so we can only try. If it doesn't go anywhere, then, you know, it doesn't go anywhere. But anyway, so that was my kind of update, is that I'm, you know, having a meeting tomorrow, and then I'm going to Boston on Friday. And if I have any news to share that I can share, I'll obviously bring it back to this group. So, so is that enough about the real estate transfer? I didn't want to kind of have a whole about it, but you know, basically what Jeremy said is it's in the select board's, you know, lap, and luckily we can move on to other initiatives and try our best with other things. Do you want me to, I don't want to go too far, like we start at 5:30. So if we end at 6:30, is that okay with you guys? Just have an hour.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't want to make it a long meeting. So if you want, I can throw up the housing initiatives sheet and we can take a look at it. Is that
Good.
and just we don't need
great.
to go heavy into it, but I can just to refresh our memories.
Lee, will you update us if there's anything new on the on the state level with the transfer fee? Yeah, on the legislative side.
Yeah. No, I absolutely will. There's definitely things happening that I'm hearing about, and yeah, as much as I can say, I will say. But
sure, great.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so here we are. Let me just move this guy. You guys can probably see everything, right?
I can't see it.
We can see columns E through L.
Okay, I'm just gonna move you guys. Can you see K? Can you see it says what I'm highlighting right now? Post.
Now I can see D through L.
Oh, really? Okay. Oh, you can see D through. I see. Yeah. Okay. So
yeah.
So you can see all this. All right. So we have item number, responsibility. Can you see my cursor?
Okay. Yes.
Okay. So one thing that came up during the conversation with the select board is I think someone mentioned piecemealing. You know, it feels like we're piecemealing things are, or, you know, not necessarily the housing subcommittee, but just, you know, addressing housing in general. I mean, like the planning board's doing stuff and we're doing stuff and the select board. And unfortunately, that's kind of the nature of where we are right now. And I know initially we started talking about, do we direct money to get a consultant and get someone to like drive this? Because it's a really big undertaking that, you need a kind of housing plan and so I mean, I keep kind of coming back to that, like, I'm spending a ton of time on this and, it's probably not good for my emotional health. But like, do we want to even like start with that big picture? Like, is this something that we should recommend for the select board or town manager to set aside a big chunk of money and have someone dedicated to creating a housing plan that could come up and tackle this?
Well,
Or
I
is
mean,
that's on our list, but I'm kind of going big picture because there's so many things we could do here.
well,
And yeah, go ahead, Jeremy.
I mean, I do think the town needs an updated housing plan, but I don't know if just going off this housing initiative summary is the way to go about that.
Mhm.
I mean, I think you could contract it out and you could, well, I guess if it's just housing, it couldn't be
I mean,
CPA
this would be
funds.
scrapped. I mean, basically the
Um,
person would take over this and we wouldn't be even, they would
Yeah,
just start from scratch,
I mean, so much of this is either already going, in need of funding or in need of funding that I'm not sure what, specifically with this summary, what they would be doing.
Mhm.
I mean, I mean, it would be nice to have an updated plan.
I mean, the
Housing
thing
plan.
is, like, we need money to do stuff. So we need money to hire a consultant. We need money
Yeah,
to create programs. So that's kind of when it came down to the transfer fee. Okay, if we can generate money, then maybe we can start doing a bit more strategic planning. Wait, I see Eileen. Do you guys mind if I let Eileen talk real quick?
oh, that would be
I
great.
do not.
So, hi, Eileen, you can talk.
Uh,
Eileen, you can talk.
He's muted.
Eileen?
Yeah. Okay. Now can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Have you talked to the affordable housing people, because they were working last night on a request for proposals? I can't give you information about it because I'm not that familiar with it. But
Yeah,
it sounds as though what they're doing is in line with what you're talking about.
Yep.
And you might have a duplication of efforts.
yep.
You mean
I am aware of
the
that.
trust? Is this the
Yeah.
trust you're
Yeah.
talking about,
Yeah.
Eileen?
Yeah, right.
That is true, yeah.
We
Yeah,
do have
so,
a member of the trust on this subcommittee.
Yeah, so Marshall, do you want to update us with that? I know a little bit about it, but I'll let Garfield take it over.
But I wasn't there last night, so I don't know anymore.
Oh, so Eileen knows more.
Yeah, well, I was at the town hall meeting, or at the meeting last night. I did not go to that.
Yeah, so I do believe that the trust, and I think it's on the website, actually. I'm just going to try to pull it up. But they are off, it's kind of an RFP. They're looking for projects it's kind of an application process. And let's see, I don't want to misspeak, so I'm just going to I believe it's on the website right now. So let me just pull it up. But yes, they are looking for projects, and they've invited applicants to come and submit proposals. And, with the money that they have right now available to them, they're looking to see where they're going to put that
cool.
money. So,
No, I see.
so it's good. Yeah. And
I mean, the Affordable Housing Trust does have some money that's not CPA money, that's town money that could be spent on a consultant. And it's not a consultant just to tell us what to do housing, but if we could hire a consultant who could then provide, do grant applications and get money. So the consultant, the investment in a consultant might be seed money for getting more money. Would have to be. I mean, there would be no reason for doing it otherwise.
Yeah,
So maybe we should approach the Affordable Housing Trust, who has money, to see if,
Yeah.
if this would be something that would interest them.
You should do that.
yeah.
We'd love to hear
Um,
that.
So I could, if you guys talk, I do have a copy of that proposal. I'm just gonna see if I can, if it was posted. So Garfield, you knew about the proposal though? Do you have an idea of what we're talking about, that they have a
I
kind of?
did not.
Oh,
No,
okay.
I did not.
Okay. So,
I don't think they got the other meeting before that, unfortunately.
yeah,
No, I know it's been some odd. Well, I was away too, so that didn't help.
yeah. Well, I do know, that they are requesting proposals, and, and there is application process. And I know that the Thornwood Inn, was one of the projects that came forward looking for money. And that they went to the Affordable Housing Trust for money, and I'm not quite sure what was decided. But yes, Eileen, that's a good point. And when is, I guess, Garfield, you don't know when the next meeting is probably for them, huh?
No, no, because obviously
Okay,
no one's
yeah.
sent me anything, or
Okay.
Fred hasn't told me yet.
So maybe what we could do is for our next meeting, see if Fred can come to brief us, or Garfield, do you want to be our point of contact and just let us know what's happening with that?
I can do that.
Okay.
Or we can have Fred. We can do them both. I think we should have Fred.
Okay.
Hopefully. I think Bill should be in on that too, to tell you the truth.
Okay.
Hell, I think we should meet with all of us, especially Ananda. She really got a good hair on her shoulders. I'd love to have her involved.
Okay.
Who's
Well,
that?
go ahead.
Who is that?
You said Ananda?
Garfield?
Is that what you asked? Ananda
Ananda?
Tempan?
Oh, okay. Thank you.
She's the vice chair, the trust.
The next meeting is October 17th, 6:30.
Okay. October 7th. I'm not sharing my screen yet, am I? Or
No.
Still. Okay.
Still, no.
Not that I'm looking at you guys shouldn't be. I didn't want to guys make you dizzy because I was looking for an email.
See your whole calendar.
Okay, so I'll reach out to Fred, and I was hoping to find this this RFP thing, but I don't want to go through it while we're in the meeting. So yeah, so I think that's great. Thank you, Eileen, for that tip. And yeah, we should probably figure out what they're going to do with their money and make suggestions and make sure we're not duplicating efforts. I think that's super, super important. All right, so that's one thing. Do you want me to go back to sharing this, or do you just want to kind of have a general discussion? Because it is a lot on here. And I know that we went through it and just kind of knocked off a bunch of them, saying that, what was already being done and what needed money. And I'll share it just so we can have one more glance before we knock off. So, yeah.
Lee, is there anything new going on the select board with the senior tax deferment? Is that what it is? Tax
Yeah.
deferment?
Deferral, yeah. We have not.
Deferral.
Yeah, we have not
You're
come
talking
back.
about the thing that Vivian was
Yeah.
speaking
Yeah,
about?
Vivian's initiative.
No, we
Yeah.
haven't had anything different
Yeah,
up
we
now.
there has been a concern raised by the assessor about the two. Well, there's only one person that has availed of the program, and there's one person that has applied, and there were some flags raised, and so I think that they might be looking at a way to look at the applications more thoroughly.
Differently.
Yeah, there were some common loopholes that were concerning, and I don't.
But
wanna
I
get
don't-
too much into it,
But I don't know if that's a reason not to do it. I mean,
No,
you
no,
know,
it's not a
you're
reason.
Oh, God, no.
you're always going to get people that are going to abuse the system, right? And
Yeah.
so I think, I think we really, for the people that could benefit, because right now it's so limited. I wish the select board would have a
Well,
little
no, I mean,
fire under them
it can
about
only
this.
go up a little bit. So we, it was
Yeah.
only, I think it was only from like 35 to 40, and then she wanted to bring down the,
Yeah.
interest rate, which, is really low considering it's, way high now. So I just think
Yeah.
there's a lot of consideration before we kind of dive into it, and especially with
Yeah.
interest rates, how they are. And I think they, there's talk, we just have to look at just the application process. So I don't get a sense that the select board necessarily would be against it, but I think if it's going to be revamped, they want to make sure they do it right. And obviously we want to benefit as many people as possible and make sure the right people are being, benefiting from. So it's not that we're not going to do it, but I think that with some flags raised, we want to make sure it's accessible to the people that actually really, really need it. So it hasn't been, it's not, forgotten, I guess is my point. So.
Right.
So I think,
Yeah.
before budget time, I think we'll definitely be able to explore it. We just need more guidance. from
Oh,
basic-
okay.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
in
So I don't
this,
think
in
it's not
this
gonna,
period. Okay.
yeah, it's just,
Cool.
it just needs some,
I was just wondering, are we talking years or are we
no,
talking?
no. I mean, I'm hopeful this budget. Yeah, I'm hopeful.
Okay.
I mean, I'm hopeful this
Oh,
budget.
awesome.
Yeah, but that, it all kind of depends on, how quickly we can get back into it. Yeah.
Awesome.
Was there anything else, looking at, did you guys want me to go
Well, I
down?
want to, it's not quite on this, well, I guess I'll come back to it, but as long as I can have like a few minutes before
Yeah.
we go.
Sure, we have like 10
After
minutes.
this.
And then 10 minutes. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
What do you got, Jeremy?
No, it's after we finish the summary.
Okay, well, we're just kind of, I think we're just doing an overview if there's anything that you guys, because it's been, unfortunately we missed last month because of my health. But is there anything that you see here that we can kind of flag for maybe, we'll invite someone from the Affordable Housing Trust. So wait, how many people are on that though? We don't have,
I think
with
there's 7
Garfield
of us
here.
total.
Okay, so with having the two of you, it's fine. Okay, I just wanted to make sure we weren't gonna have an open meeting law thing.
Well,
So looking at this-
I personally would like, I wouldn't mind, I don't know, I think in there, I like Ananda's thought process. I would love for her to be in this meeting with Fred. And myself.
Okay.
And Bill, truthfully, I think.
Are
he's
you
got some
talking
insight.
about them coming to our meeting?
Yes.
Yeah, so I don't
Or
think
going
it's
to
o-
them, but yeah.
I don't think it's
yeah.
open meeting law because both of them are already subject to open meeting law, right? So I don't think we're limited on how many
well, no, I
of
just didn't
them.
want them to have a quorum. Like I didn't want them to like, the whole, we'd have a posted joint meeting if we were gonna,
Oh, I see. Oh, I see what you're saying.
yeah. So I mean,
Oh, I
so
see.
how many are on the?
So I would limit it to 3, including yourself, Garfield.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it would have to be just Ananda
Yeah.
and Bill. Or what about Fred? So I guess
Well,
either
then
Bill
Fred
or Fred.
and Bill then would be my
Fred and
choice.
Bill. Okay. So I'll reach out to all three and then see if we can get two of them.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think we should limit it to 2 people. And I think that would be good. We can have a meeting of the minds and see what the story is. And then also get their take on the transfer fee. I mean, Fred has been to all the
Absolutely.
meetings and has advocated strongly for it, but I think it would be good to touch base with him and, just see what their thoughts are. If they start getting this fund, what would they do with it and so forth. Anything on, sorry? Yes,
Spend it.
exactly. Anything on this that you guys want to just highlight, or we can just come back? I sent it all to you today, so you're welcome to, send notes or, there's, obviously a ton of this on here. The housing symposium, did anyone go to Smitty's, housing insecurity summit?
I did not.
Last week, yeah. So he had a
No,
food
I had
and
something
housing insecurity summit in the Lenox Town Hall. About 100 people came, and it was a cross section of various organizations and stakeholders, and they talked about housing. So I couldn't go; I was in the hospital, but yeah. So
Wasn't
it wasn't a
excused,
housing
huh?
symposium necessarily, but it was more of a listening session. So Senator Mark and Rep Bouvier was there, Tricia and Smitty. So they were just trying to get some feedback locally on housing initiatives, and they also talked about food insecurity. So Okay, so blighted properties, I guess we've kind of gone down all this stuff. Grants, hire town staff, foreclosed properties, existing housing, affordable housing,
Oh, good.
aging in place. Yeah, I'm kind of focusing on, and this is something I'm doing with Construct, is, aging in place. I'm really focusing on repurposing properties, and trying to keep seniors in their homes, because I feel like there's a lot of cash poor seniors that have, all their equity tied in their homes. And that if
Someone
they
say my
could-
name?
and if they could downsize, they would. But the problem is that the prices are so crazy right now. And if they downsize, they can't afford it. So, they might have a huge 3,000 square foot house. And if they're just trying to get a condo, for 1,500 square feet, I mean, that's like $800,000. So, I mean, it's crazy. So, a lot of seniors are kind of locked in these old houses that no longer suit them. And they don't have, they're not accessible and they're drafty. So I'm personally really focused on helping seniors. So this is kind of my new little, a new little thing I'm focusing on. And I might bring it up with the housing secretary on Friday. Cause I just think that, with the seniors population, I just think we really need to figure out a way to do better in this realm. So
Can I
this is
suggest
one of
something
my
or
things.
ask something?
Sorry.
Can I suggest or ask something?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm actually getting some assistance from BCAC.
Yep.
And they can, and I'm a senior. I don't know if there's somewhere we can get all seniors to be aware of that. I'm sure everyone is not aware of that. There's weatherization. There's stuff that they'll do for free.
Yeah, exactly.
It'll
Yeah.
cost you a dime. That
Yep.
might be something to open up to everyone to make sure, let them know they're aware of it. It's pretty simple to fill out. If you're still working, you send in some papers and whatnot. If you have no income, there's things for it. But they do a lot of stuff. They'll do a lot.
Yeah, no, they're
And
great.
that
I've
could be a way to
definitely-
help seniors as well.
Yeah, no, absolutely. BCAC is great. They run the fuel assistance program and they do winterization. And they-
Weatherization and stuff. Yep.
well, yeah,
They'll even
definitely.
do appliance
Exactly.
upgrades.
Yeah,
if you
yeah,
need
they
it.
go through your home
Yeah.
and switch out your light bulbs, and they're amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing, yeah.
Yep.
So for sure. Yeah, and that's like definitely a supportive service for sure. Yeah. Jeremy?
So I was wondering with the town's tax abatement thing, where is there any, so our gosh, I thought there was something, was it just talked about, or is it, so like what Garfield's talking about, sometimes it's not only just letting seniors know about it, but like helping seniors like apply for these things and do the paperwork, because sometimes like
Yep,
that kind of stuff is a bit like overwhelming.
Yes, it is.
Um,
Yes, it is.
Yeah, well, that's sort of what Construct was doing a little bit, but it is,
Yeah.
We had to kind of pare down because it was just taking too many resources from us, but yeah,
Well,
it
the
is.
senior center would be probably happy to help people fill out applications, but I got a funny feeling, I don't know, but I have a funny feeling a lot of people aren't aware of BCAC.
Yeah.
I don't know, but I got a funny feeling there's a lot of seniors that probably aren't aware of it, and the senior center is very helpful helping you do
Yeah.
paperwork, et cetera.
Yeah, I think that would be more senior center than, the housing subcommittee, but obviously anything to help seniors would be welcome. So, yeah.
So maybe I should call them and let them
Yeah.
know then, because I think we got to at least let them be aware of it. I will.
Yeah,
I'll call
yeah.
them myself.
Okay, awesome.
Hmm.
Okay, so it's almost 6:30 and we can continue. There's a lot to chew on, but I think we definitely, and I know, Jeremy, I'm sorry that I wasn't able to get Sam Nickerson here. Did you still want me
Yeah.
to do that for the next meeting?
Yeah,
or-
that would be great. That would be great if we could put him on the agenda. And I guess the idea behind that is, it came up in the planning board, and but we haven't had I think this is the first meeting since it's come up, but to maybe have this group see different developers and talk to them. I mean, specifically what I was interested in is like what's holding up housing development in Great Barrington. What's making it more difficult or that sort of thing. And so this kind of goes into the other thing that I wanted to talk about is that kind of like small development, where, you might have some sort of skilled person, whether they're a contractor, a plumber, electrician, or something like that, that wants to take on some sort of small project, to develop housing. Like maybe they want to create like a 3-unit property or something like that, or maybe 4 or 5. And what is preventing that sort of development from happening?
Yep.
So I think Sam was someone that I had been talking to, I'd see now and then I was talking to, and but I like kind of this to be like the start of bringing in developers. And then also maybe we could also speak with some of the, the big players as well, like Construct and CDC and, and so, I mean, we're speaking to
Can we
you,
just
but
put
we can.
some of this stuff out there? Like
You just don't want me to talk anymore. That's okay. Well, so wait, just to kind of get slowly wrapping this up, we already
Yep.
have thought that we're going to invite the Affordable Housing Trust. So I feel like having
Yep.
the two is a bit too much. Do we have a preference who to do first? I kind of feel like the Affordable Housing Trust might be the first one, but that seems more urgent because they're doing these proposals. But let me know.
I mean, I was kind of keen to hear Sam, because of also where we're at within the planning board and our cycle. Like if there's some things that we can start talking about for for this cycle of town meeting, not special town meeting, but town meeting. And like I don't want to put him off too long.
Did he approach you?
No, I approached him initially about it.
Well, I guess
yeah,
what
and I was
we could set our new meeting, and then if he can come. I mean, does anyone else feel like that we want to have the Affordable Housing Trust? Because we're only having meetings once a month, and time is kind of precious. Any thoughts on Sam? Or I mean, I guess we could do both, but I just feel the way.
I think we should have them one after another. I'm not sure which one is first. It's a long process. It's going to be long, so I don't see why we just can't.
In one meeting?
Do we want to?
No, 2 meetings.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I thought. Yeah.
Could we maybe for our November meeting, could we try to plan like earlier November, like maybe cut down the gap?
Yeah, sure. Do you guys want to?
Because late November is always hard anyways, and late December is hard. So if we could go maybe early for November, December.
Sure. Yeah, well, why don't we?
Because then it won't be, because then it doesn't really matter, because then we're talking, the meetings will be close anyway.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter which one's in which.
Yeah, and we took some time off, so we can go back to the grind. So that's a good segue. So let's unless anyone, we'll go to the calendar segment and then we'll open it up to comments. But if everyone can take their calendars out and let's see when we can meet, and then that'll determine if Sam comes or not. All right.
Of course, I say this and I'm in major kids sports.
Yeah, hopefully I won't have a spinal fusion between now and then.
Oh man. Yeah, let's make sure we get this in before then.
Exactly. Okay.
But I don't know, you may want the relief, right?
Well, Halloween is coming up. I don't want to miss Halloween. So, October 25th, the week of the 16th, the week of the 23rd.
Well, we're already meeting in October, right?
Do we have that
We
date
haven't set
set?
that. No, we haven't. Well, we have the special
October
town meeting 23rd. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
you penciled in October 25th.
Oh, that's right. That's true. Yeah, I forgot I did that.
That's actually a Friday, the 25th.
Of October?
No Fridays.
No, it's
a Wednesday. 25th is a
it's
Wednesday.
a Wednesday.
I'm looking at the wrong year. That's what I'm doing. Jesus.
Malcolm, you're really planning ahead now.
Boy, I'm kind of gray here.
So
okay.
yeah, I didn't realize that we probably were penciling stuff, and I don't see that on my thing. Yeah, so we do have
the 25th is what.
Yeah. Do you want to do the 25th then?
Yeah.
Okay, so October 25th at 5:30. Does that work for everyone?
Sure.
October 25th?
Yeah, at 5:30.
That's not Friday, right?
No, that's
No,
Wednesday.
it's
not
No,
Wednesday.
it's a,
Friday.
it's a
Next year it's
Wednesday.
Friday.
Yeah.
Ah,
Okay, so that,
Oh, we got a
and-
leap year.
wait, is the decision to ask Sam or Fred? Or like,
Oh, I think
who
we
asked
should do
first?
the Affordable Housing Trust first because we're
Yeah.
overdue on
Yeah,
talking to those
I
guys.
agree. I agree.
But
So
if they can't, if we
we
can
put-
ask them soon, because if they can't, then can we switch it so we get at least one of them?
Well,
Yeah, I mean, I
how
would
about-
think between the three people at Affordable Housing Trust, like one of them could come. I would hope.
Garfield will come.
yeah, right. But
So-
I feel
so-
like we
Garfield
should
will
have
just have to go
someone
to a
else
meeting, take
other than
notes.
Garfield.
So, okay, so October 25th at 5:30, I'll ask the Affordable Housing Trust Fund
Yeah.
people first. If for some
So
reason.
if you
Oh,
can't get
okay.
the two of them, maybe ask Ananda
Oh,
Nada?
no, so it's between Fred, Bill, and Ananda, so
and
between,
then,
we
yeah,
want two people. We can't have
Yeah.
three. so
we
I'll,
can't have three unless you join.
Okay, so then let's look at November then.
Well, we got the 8th and the 15th.
Well, may I just say something? Let me just, why can't we have three now again? Because you don't really not count me because I will be on the housing subcommittee, correct?
No, but
We
you're
have-
still a
Yeah,
yeah,
member.
but you make a quorum.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's the
Okay.
problem.
it'd have to be
Alright.
officially posted as a joint meeting. Okay, so we'll have either, Fred, Bill, or Ananda, two of the three of those guys. Okay, so November, so we don't want to wait too long in November, so.
Yeah.
Eighth?
October 25th and November 8th. Yeah.
2 weeks later.
Is that 2 weeks later, 3 weeks? Later?
Mm-hmm. We can do that.
Sure.
Sure, we really go hard.
November 8th at 5:30. That's a Wednesday, Garfield.
Oh, yeah, Wednesdays are always fine for me, but wow.
Okay.
2 weeks after. All right.
I know it's a lot of work.
Well, I think it's only 2 weeks, man.
Do we want to try to set
Breathe.
December too? We can go
Sure,
really,
yeah, we're on a roll. Sure.
be really ambitious.
Okay, so November 8th at 5:30 is the next November's meeting. So let's make that. Put that in
So now we have a good month.
there. H.
Yeah, I would suggest the 6th or the 13th to keep it out of the holiday
Yeah, definitely.
range.
All right, let's just see. The 6th or the 13th, yeah.
13.
13th. There we go.
Okay, 1, 2, yeah.
All right, 5:30 again.
December.
We're really on a roll here. Jeez.
I know.
Well, we have dates. That's a big deal.
I know, this is great. Dates is
All
the
right,
hardest
all
part
right.
sometimes.
I gotta get going, so we're ready to rock.
Oh, wait,
Yeah,
I
we
just
got
gotta
some
open it. Wait, I
citizen
have to
speak.
open it up to citizen speak. Okay,
Citizen speak.
so citizen speak, I'm opening it up. Anyone have any comments? Please raise your hand. Okay. Oh, I see Eileen. Eileen, I am gonna unmute
He's
you.
unmuted.
Okay,
Okay.
Hi.
What is the difficulty in posting a joint meeting so that your board and the Affordable Trust could come?
there's not a difficulty. It's just if we want to have that full scale, it was more of a, consultation rather than a whole joint meeting. So it's not a issue. It's just, I didn't know if this committee wanted to have a full hand joint committee. So
Okay.
it was
I
more
would,
just,
I would say that
personally
might be
don't
something we discuss with those guys if they can come on the 25th.
yeah, exactly. So this could be a precursor to that, Eileen.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay, media time. All right, housing subcommittee, any last words?
Nope.
Any last words, subcommittee, any announcements, goodbyes, hellos, nothing? We're all good?
Move to adjourn.
Okay, move to adjourn. So moved, and you're okay with the minutes? You'll do that change, Malcolm?
I
and
got
Awesome. All right, great. Thank you so much. Nice seeing you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.